Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to Simply Grace channel. And I just like to begin by saying Happy Mother's Day to every woman out there giving it their best. So hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today, I just thought I would like to speak really about parenting in the UK and the impact of cultural differences, of course, on both the parents and the children of immigrants. So I've received one or two messages in pertaining to this, and I just thought it's something that I would just like to cover on the channel, really. And as usual, I would just like to once again put a disclaimer out there that everything that I'm going to be sharing on this channel is just of personal opinion, my own life experiences, and of course, it's not to sway anybody or to change anybody's mind either way. So we're all here to support one another, and if this is able to just help one person, it will all make it worth it. So and that is it. So they're all personal opinions, and I am more than happy as well to receive any comment, any contribution, and I'm open to learn all the time. All that said and done, I just like to start by, especially for the children and parents of immigrants in the UK, I just like to say, if you're a parent and you just relocate, from any, African culture into the UK, one of the challenges you might find that is quite common, really, is if you've got children that have moved in with you, you might find that due to the cultural differences and of course the expectations on how to raise your children, you might find that a little bit challenging in navigating the system in the UK. And unfortunately, we've had few people that have run into some sort of issues in regards to this, which has, even led to their children being removed. And that is not what any parent will want, to experience. So if for one reason or the other, you know anybody or you're going through this yourself, I hope you find one or two things that I'm, just about to share on the channel today helpful or useful. And yeah, so and if you do need to seek support, further support, please do so. I am not a lawyer, so and I haven't got any background in any legal kind of practice. So as I said, everything I'll be sharing is just based on my own personal experience, and of course, what I've seen happening around me. So first of all, one of the areas that I think we need to try and consider is the change of environment. And I think sometimes as parents, we can just concentrate on ourselves due to the nature of, the system that we just, one way or the other just come into. That we need to, first of all, the stress of finding a job, finding accommodation, settling down, we tend sometimes, it's possible to forget the impact of the change of environment and the trauma that can actually present as well to our children, especially moving abroad. So when you think about it as a parent, when you kind of, are focusing on, settling down, getting school, new school for your children, perhaps, or finding a place, a suitable accommodation, to live, or it might even be job situation. It's very easy not to focus or give enough attention to the trauma that could be as a result of change of environment for our children. So in the light of this, I just think it's something to, for all of us to just sort of try and reflect on. If you find yourself in this situation, just try to reflect on what the effect of moving from any African culture can have, on our little ones as well. They might not be able to tell you that they do miss their friends, their peers, back home or whatever. But the tendency is there that this is going to have, effect on them, on their mood. It might even be their mental health, which could then, they can present that as if they've been challenging towards you, or they're not listening to you, or you feel that you're just, at loggerhead with them all the time. Not necessarily so. As parents, if we can just try to reflect, and find a way to speak to them, to negotiate with them, just to take some time out, really, to try and spend some time with them. Perhaps just, just listen to what they've got to tell you. As I said, it could be something as basic as missing all their friends. So I think that can go a long way as a parent to be able to support them, to reassure them, and hopefully in time, this would resolve itself, because hopefully they'll be able to, go to school and mingle with other children and make new friends. It's just something to bear in mind, that if your child is, showing some, signs of all of a sudden they don't listen to me, this and that, that could be one of the reasons. And it's not always easy, for them to obviously divulge that and, just speak to you about that. So it's just something as a parent that I think is important for us to be aware of. This could cause social isolation as well to start with, because if you think about it, for a child of, for example, 10-year-old, even 6-year-old that just moved into one culture to the other, one country to the other, it might even be the environment and the weather as well is another, you know, when they do move into the new environment, it's going to take them some time even to understand the system, let alone making, friends of their own. So as parents, we just need to try and be mindful of this. And of course, as a parent as well, we do have our own stress of maybe, looking for accommodation to settle down, or it can even be a job, the mental stress of that. And also the frustration of maybe things not happening as quick as, as quickly as we would love it to. That might have impact on our own, mental health as well, and of course the way we relate to our children. So let's just be mindful of that, and in going forward. And I think by so doing, we can actually maintain, a channel of communication, in order to be able to support one another, both parents and of course our children. So just try not to work against them, work with them, speak to them, and just seek to, be their friends. And, hopefully in time things would resort itself. Discipline is another area that I would like to touch upon, because the way we do tends to discipline our children, or in African culture, it might be different when you come to the UK. And, if the truth be told, that might again pose another challenge, to even to a good parent. It might be the best of parents, but the way things are done in this country, you might find that a little bit challenging. That raising your hand, for example, to smack or whatever it is, to your children might actually, cost you a lot. It could even go as bad as those children being taken away from you, because in the UK, that is not the way, the law of the country or the legal system of the country, it can be seen as a form of abuse, and even for the best of parents, you might find yourself in that position where you then starting to, battle with the system, really, in order to be able to look after your children and to support them, even with the best intention and the best interest at heart. So let's just try and be mindful of that. As a parent myself, I've been through this. To be honest, and when my children were much younger, I will put my hand up and say that I have seen myself in the situation where I've smacked them here and there, and I'm going back now, 2 decades ago. This won't be what I would sort of advise anybody to do. Things have changed as well since I've been in this country, and things continue to change, and there is a big difference between a smack as a wake up kind of, or but then where do we stop, where do we draw the line? And I think this is what the issues are, really. So it's just try as much as possible to have this mindset that you want to discipline your child, not necessarily punish them. And I've learned a lot from this, my own experience. I can say even from my own personal mistakes, knowing fully well that what I find really that have been so useful, especially in the last few years with my children, is just, it takes time to build this kind of relationship, to be able to talk to them, to negotiate with them, and sometimes to have a type kind of a what we call timeout period. Timeout period is not just for the children, it's also for parents. As a parent, it's always useful not to go by our emotion. But to be logical. So when you really think that the emotion and the passion is running high, it's always nice to take some time out, even for yourself, to reflect and of course to go forward. And I also like to say this because I know for some people it might even runs deeper than being the culture. It might even be something that is part of your belief system, or as a Christian, the Bible says we can. But thinking about it, there are a lot of things during the Bible time. And again, as I said, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or how to raise your children. My argument now, knowing what I know now, is the fact that there are some things that we used to do during the Bible time, and I will give a good example of that. That if you're a woman and you were found to be carrying on doing something, you were supposed to be stoned to death. We all know that. I'm just giving that one example. Really, we're never going to carry out that kind of, in this day and age. So there are a lot of things we need to reflect on, and you will find that actually the ability to speak to your own children, to be able to see things from their own point of view, it really goes a long way to be able to maintain good relationship with them, even in later years. And this is something that we cannot reflect on and think about. When a child is used to seeing aggression or violence, or not being able to, obviously use communication to achieve our aim, that, it can, especially in this system, it can turn to something that they can actually, resent you, over it. And see situation of children, even after, some years, they keep going back to it because it can be very traumatic for them. Unfortunately, like I said, some of us, including myself, we've had to learn this in a hard way to some extent. I'm not putting myself out there to say to you that I'm the parent that, is violent towards my children or is stupid. That's not what I'm trying to say. But even every now and then kind of a smack or raising of hand or raising too much of your voice or wanting to assert yourself in the way that maybe we were brought up, even sometimes can have a detrimental effect. So let's seek to speak to these children. Let's speak to negotiate with them. Let's speak to give them the space they need, and take the space you need yourself in order to be able to reflect. And by so doing, as I said, that can actually lead to a better relationship between you and your children. Communication is very, very important. So discipline your child, but seek not to punish them. And of course, we can all learn by doing this. It's really, it's really very vital that we take this, on board. And another thing we need to, consider in so doing is the children's mental health. Because when you think about it, they're going to be going to school, they're going to be speaking or having rapport, or, associating with children that maybe they're not facing that kind of trauma in their life, or the way of being brought up. And of course, that is going to have impact on their self-esteem, their dignity, so much so, sharing it even with the teacher, as I said, in this day and age, it can actually lead to a very, very dire consequences, even for both the child and of course the parent. So very, very important to be aware of that. So the impact of the way you discipline them, the way you raise them up, it can be for a long time, really, that they find it so difficult to obviously rise above this. So we need to reflect, we need to empathize. Another area which I find as well that most people do struggle with is this technology. We've all been there. Even as I speak at the moment, I still got, a teenager that every now and then we battle with that. But I've learned to negotiate with her. I've learned to, speak to her about this. I've learned to give and take. I've learned to give her the space that she needs. And I think I can honestly say, hand on my heart, that things are working much, much better than it used to be. Because when the passion is running high, when your emotion is all up there, and they trying to tell you as well what their needs are, it can be, nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. So try as much as possible to be mindful of that. And the way I sort of rationalize that in my head is that when I remember when I was growing up, there was no such thing of my mom saying to me, oh, you can't, sometimes I've seen myself in the situation where I'm out there playing with my friend until like, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, lovely sunshine, nice weather where you can just, go and run around. It's the same in this country. Speaking to my husband that was raised in this Western culture, he used to tell me he'll be out, especially summer holiday, go to the mountain, with his friends. His mother might not see him for a whole day, and they wouldn't worry too much about that because, there's no dangers of anybody, doing anything bad to them. But in this day and age, every parent is on tenterhooks because of what is out there, because of what is happening to our young ones. And when we think about it with these children, where else do they go? And then they've also got the weather as well. If you're coming from African culture, you're used to having sunshine, maybe, most of the day. In this culture, these children they're in their rooms, aside from maybe going out to have one or two friends that they, play with. So really, what do they do? What can they do if they don't go on the net? If they are saying like if they don't have the technology, I'm not just saying on the net, they can even be playing games, on their technology. Very, very important to them because that is their platform. That is how they get to keep in touch, even with all their peers and their friends in school. That is probably where they get to even do their homework. Teachers as well will give them homework to do in this. And of course, for them, it is very, very important that they do have that kind of situation where they can be able to obviously, engage with their peers, engage with their friends, and of course to be able to to play with their mates. If they haven't got that platform, again that can have detrimental effects on their mental health. So as parents, we need to be mindful of this, to be understanding of this. Of course, I do advocate everything as well, within reason. The limitation has to be there. That's not what I'm saying. You got to set some boundaries as well. You got to work with them in order to be able to do that, so that it's not becoming an issue and between you and your child. So these are all the areas that I think is very, very important that we're mindful of. And of course, when your child is telling you something, just try. And no matter how young, even if they, young as 6 year old, 5 year old, you'll be surprised what they are going through as well. So let's try and give them the chance to be able to express themselves so that we can know the right way really to help them. So timeout is good, reflection is good, and if you're still struggling with this, of course, if it means that you need to seek some professional help, please do so. Because if you don't, and just my rather man is I want to carry things out my own way, I want to do it, it will have effect, on your relationship with your child. You might actually have a child that will stop talking to you, that will stop confiding in you. And I haven't experienced that myself. I know what a detrimental effect that can have, on you and of course on your child. The consequences of your child and trusting a stranger or trusting other people that haven't got their best interest at heart. So as parents, it really is paramount that we are mindful of things like this. And of course, I do say to people, whether we like it or not, whether we realize it or not, personally speaking, I think being a parent is the hardest job of all to do. It is very, very rewarding. It is wonderful when they become that responsible adults, but raising children, especially in any system at all. But of course, you have to move from one system to the other. It's even much more challenging. So yeah, let's seek to be their friend. Let's seek to keep that line and channel of communication running back and forth. Let's allow them as well to make their mistakes, because if we so adamant, and we so focus on them not making any mistakes or not doing anything wrong, it's not going to work. Basically, even as parents, how many times do we make our own mistakes? It's the same for our little ones. They got to make their mistakes, and you'll find that when they make their mistakes, that is actually the best way they learn. Children that don't make mistakes because you've sheltered them too much, they grow up to see life in a different kind of way, and later on they will still make those mistakes you're trying to protect them at home not to make. It's just that it's much harder then for them to to cope with it, or to navigate their way through it, because they are not used to problem solving. So let's try and be mindful of this. And of course, when they make their own wise decision as a parent, and as long as it's not something so vital and going to be damaging to their life, let's try as much as possible to support them. It's always better to say to your child or to your children, whatever you do, still come home to me, speak to me, let me know whatever you've done. At least we can walk through it, than a child that is trying to hide things from you. And that is I think, personally, the way forward. As I said, be their friend, try to be firm, but not dogmatic. Try to be willing to yield sometimes, to listen to them, especially for the children of immigrant. This is very important. And I think we need to just be mindful that the environment they're coming from, just like it is a little bit, or even, I don't know, it might be, it take a long time really for us to adjust into the new system we find ourselves as adults. Is the same for the children. You never know what is going up in their mind, or even in their head. So try as much as possible to make allowance for that, and of course, in going forward, to be there to support them. And as I said, we're all still learning. All this I'm saying, I'm putting out there. As a parent myself, I'm learning from it. I'm learning from what I'm, saying today, and I'll continue to learn. So there's no fast rule on this is how you must do things. But these are just the things that I think is very important that we do pay attention to. So making their own mistakes, you making yours, everybody giving them, you're giving your children allowance to grow, even with the scope of their mistakes, and wise decision as well as, and of course, you yourself learning from your own mistakes, and understanding that the best way is to keep the flow of communication going. It's gonna really, I think, would have a lovely effect in the long run. It would have the desired effect in the long run, because then the family won't be like a battleground, and then we can all be there to support one another. So I wish everybody the best. And as I said, I am more than happy if you want to comment, if you have any questions. Your contribution is very important. So I'm fine. I'm happy with that. Just share your thought on this. So, and I wish everybody the best. If you're going through some sort of challenges with your children, just hanging in there. That's who we are as parents. We love them, and because our emotion is very much involved in whatever we do, it's gonna really feel like that. But I can assure you, there's nothing you're probably going through that most parents haven't been through, maybe even worse. So learn as well to praise your child if they're doing things good. I did child development. And I think part of what we actually, we impact into parents in supporting them if they've got a child that is showing challenging behavior is what I call positive reinforcement of behavior. You reinforce the positivity, whatever they're doing that is good. You reinforce that by praising them, by making sure that you do not ignore that. And I'm thinking about, because I do work with children under the age of 5, well, up until the age of 5. So if they're showing any challenging behavior, the best way is to keep on reinforcing whatever is good that they are doing. They become the queen of the castle, they become the king of the castle. That comes home, oh, nanny got to know, you tell the friend. And of course, if they're doing something you're not quite keen on, we do say you need to try and ignore bad behavior as much as possible. And these are the things that we teach people right from, we teach children or parents, supporting parents right from the home go. So taking this on board as well, everybody needs encouragement. Everybody needs positivity in their life. So if your child is doing something good, they're doing well in school, or they're listening to you, and you ignore that. But it's only when they do something wrong that you then want to give them all your, negative attention. Again, that is going to have impact on their mental health, on their self-esteem. So it's not going to help anybody. So as a parent myself, these are the, few things that I've learned over the years and continue to learn as well, as I said, moving forward. So I wish everybody the best. I hope you're enjoying your, Mother's Day. I'm certainly having a fab day myself. And so if you do like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again, at some other time. Okay. Happy Sunday to you all. Bye.